The start of the systematic use of the Irish Sign Language at historic sites run by the Office of Public Works and the extensive programming of activities for Irish Sign Language users and learners dates back to 2014. The director of the Centre for Deaf Studies in Trinity College, Dublin, approached the head of visitor services with a view to developing a collaborative training project for student Irish Sign Language interpreters who would train at our heritage sites and subsequently provide interpreting for deaf sign language users at scheduled guided tours delivered by OPW personnel. The final year trainee interpreters worked closely over a period of time, initially with the education curator and her team in Dublin Castle, and subsequently at the other pilot sites, building together and exchanging knowledge, skills, and expertise. The first of these tours took place on the now historic date of the 18th of January 2015, as part of the launch of the programme by the then Minister of the Office of Public Works, Simon Harris. And the annual programme of engagement continued apace through the years. It kept growing stronger with diverse and alternative ways of engagement and with more and more sides joining each year. And whereas the 2014 pilot project involved student interpreters, the subsequent program has engaged qualified interpreters. And interestingly, some of them had trained under the 2014 initiative and still have very fond memories of it. Prior to each event, the interpreters prepare a podcast promoting the scheduled activities in the Irish Sign Language Vlogs and Films Facebook group. So what does Ithaca look like? Well, as adventurous and full of surprises as the Homeric one. We have embedded Irish Sign Language in our education and engagement policies and in most of our activities, always being mindful of the need for ongoing learning and development among our staff. Although some of us had followed deaf awareness training and Irish Sign Language classes since 2015, a major development was the rollout of classes to a number of staff throughout the country in 2020, organized by the visitor services. The expertise built through the Irish Sign Language experience and the multifaceted engagement with the deaf community in many ways informed the building of resources to address other communities and a diversity of interests and communication needs, in particular in the areas of visual impairment, autism, and dementia. These were areas that we had extensively worked on prior to the pandemic, a pandemic that generated new needs, but also new opportunities and new ways of working. The participatory and process-led methodology of the project, allowing for experimentation, extensive involvement of deaf persons, and new ways of engagement, has great potential for replication across the public service, in the arts and education sectors in particular, but also in the use of creative methods and resources in the delivery of equality and diversity training to public professionals serving our communities. We embarked on sharing our experience at various fora and training exchanges nationally and internationally, such as the Dublin Access Partnership, an initiative of Arts and Disability Ireland, one of our key collaborators. In 2018, we participated in a training exchange with the network of European museum organizations under the theme Building a Multilingual Narrative, where all participants shared their experience in the use of multiple spoken languages at their museums. We were the only participant to contribute an experience in the use of a sign language. What transpired in these exchanges is that the whole process is one of transcreation. And yet we wanted to go further. For us, it was time to focus on producing or co-producing material generated and initiated by deaf persons with Irish Sign Language as their first language. Working in a participatory and collaborative way through creative and critical engagement with history and culture is embedded in our ethos and practice, a practice that includes a number of contemporary art projects that have participation at their heart. In 2020, as a lot of our experience moved to the digital realm, the need to develop online resources and activities came to the fore, and so did the opportunity to experiment with new methods and expand our educational offer. We thus engaged Albion Jones to translate and sign one of the contributions to our Citizens Curate project. Albion had also translated and signed for the Department of Arts the proclamation of the Irish Republic on the occasion of the 1916 centenary, and we also included a link to that in our resources. And our closing example, Valerie Mahon, Irish Sign Language teacher and educator, presents her comments on paintings from the State Art Collection. A visual language for visual art.